it's an incredible record, and I just
Thank
have
you.
a few questions for you today
Sure.
about it because I want. All right. So I'm assuming you guys are very excited for the upcoming um release party next
Yeah.
week. That's pretty cool. My first question is, how did you start the band, and how did you manage to get so much talent in one roster?
So I started the band 10 years ago,
Hmm.
and it was after I was lucky enough to tour a bunch of times with a band called the Funk Brothers.
Oh, cool.
They were the backup band for most Motown artists, and I got to play with them on and off for like 6 years, which was amazing. And every single
Okay.
time I got off the road with these guys, uh, I was inspired. And I was like, I've always been a bit of a songwriter,
Mhm.
and I always dabbled in pop writing, and I love jazz. So I was like, well, Motown, to me anyway, soul music and Motown music is really a combination of the two, pop music and jazz music. And I was like, I'm going to try to write some of this.
So
And
is that
so
the
I,
inspiration then, sort of?
yeah, absolutely. So that I mean, being on stage with the Funk Brothers really inspired me to like pay tribute to that music, and I don't want it to be original. So I really wanted to take a stab at writing some of this stuff. So I wrote the first record, and I had some co-writes on it, which are David co-wrote a tune with me.
Hmm.
Actually, David wrote a tune for that record as well,
Hmm.
and it was a lot of fun. And I got the lead singer of the Funk Brothers, Delbert Nelson, involved, and he so graciously said yes. We came to Canada, recorded the album with us, and we were able to do a couple gigs. It's tough, with him in Detroit, me in Ottawa,
Hmm.
and I really wanted the band to be something. And Rebecca is such a force. She's amazing, and she was involved right from the get go. So she's on the
Wow.
first record. But the first record, like mainly, excuse me, featured Delbert, and so I knew I needed to, replace Delbert. And Delbert was so busy he really couldn't do both, projects anyway, like his own project in the Commotions.
Okay.
So I reached out to Jeff Rogers, and I always thought, Jeff is amazing. He's got his own solo project. He doesn't need the band, and he's so well sought after, and he's very busy because he's so talented. And he said, "Of course I'll do it." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing!" And so getting Jeff involved and Rebecca is just and Mackenzie too. And Mackenzie's been in the band for a couple of years now, and she
Yeah.
is so good. It's having those three fronting the band, and they're
Yeah.
literally. If someone says how many vocalists you have, I say I have three lead vocalists because there. I have three lead vocalists in the band, and they're each of them are outstanding on their own, and to bring them together is just it's really an honor to be on stage with those three musicians: Mackenzie DeMillo, Jeff Rogers, and Rebecca Noel. They're
Yeah.
fantastic, and
Yeah.
I'm so lucky. Sorry,
Sorry,
go
go
on.
ahead. Sorry, no,
No,
you go
I
on.
was just going to say I'm so lucky. Start a little coffee break. I'm so lucky that I'm able to hang out with these all these cats in the band, and they're really my friends at the end of the day. And I'm just honored that I'm in those circles, in town. They always say if you want to be successful,
Mhm.
surround yourself with successful people that are more successful than you. And really that's what I've done with the Commotions. I've tried to always put myself in situations where I have to strive to be better. And I'm very lucky to do that constantly with this project.
That's amazing. That's a really good way to say it all. And success
Mhm.
is definitely it's important to have be surround yourself with people that, as you say, are more like not more, but like just very successful themselves. That's very um what are some of your so you kind of mentioned the Funk Brothers, which you played with, which sounds like it kind of came from some members of Funk Brothers into the Commotions, if
Mhm.
that's what I'm getting. But is that kind of correct? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the only reason why the band exists is because of my experience with the Funk Brothers, really.
And
Uh,
do you have any other influences besides the Funk Brothers for this kind of band? Because
oh
it's
yeah,
just very
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and Motown in general,
yeah.
huge influence for me.
Hmm.
Chicago is one of my favorite bands of all time. So huge influence for me.
Chicago is a
Tower
great band.
Power. Tower Power is one of my favorite bands, and I love the horn bands, and and being a saxophonist and the saxophonist in
Mhm.
the band or one of them, it was important for me to have a focus on the horns
Nice.
because I always want to be on stage, and I always love seeing people dance, at shows,
Hmm.
and I wanted to play in the band, so of course it had to have a horn section.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, so what changed since the first record and then volume two and three? What kind of was different between each one for
Yeah,
you
that's
guys?
such a
Yeah.
great question.
Yeah.
The difference. So the first record, which I'm super proud of, but it was my first time releasing a record on like something that I've had I contribute to quite a lot. Most of the writing on the first record
Hmm.
um, is me with some co-writes. All the arranging, the horns and the actual like band parts were me. So what I wanted to do on the second record was I wanted to just share the stage more on that front. So the second record is a lot of co-writes. So the second record, Rebecca Noel and David Gaw really really helped me out with the co-writing, and
Hmm.
it was great because co-writing taught me to be a better songwriter. It taught me to be a better arranger, because it's really a lesson.
Yeah.
Two heads are better than one, three heads are better than two. So putting myself in those situations where you don't get your way all the time.
Hmm.
Like you have to you bring an idea in, and then all of a sudden the idea goes down an avenue you didn't expect it to. A lot of people's first response will be like, no, I don't want that. But if you go into a co-writing situation with an open mind
Hmm.
and a belief that whatever happens to the song, it's going to be better in the end. And that's exactly what happened every single time I co-write. I don't I the songs go down an avenue excuse me, with that I don't expect.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, that was the best avenue we could have gone down. And the song was better because of it. And so it made me more aware of that. And so what I did on the third record is I really opened up the floodgates. And I think
Hmm.
that's why this record is so strong, is because of there's so many co-writes. So this record, Rebecca helped co-write at least one or two tunes. Jeff Rogers, excuse me, co-wrote probably four or five tunes on the record. Um, and Alex Masternardi, my co-producer, and he was our engineer recording the record. And we co-wrote a bunch of tunes as well.
Wow.
I co-wrote a tune with a doctor friend of mine, a really great musician, Ron Weiss. He's so talented.
Hmm.
Sounds like James Taylor. And we co-wrote a tune together with Jeff Rogers. And then Northeastern is somebody I look up to a lot in
Yeah.
Ottawa, and we co-wrote a tune together, the ballad for the record. So
Oh, the ballad. I love that song.
yeah, and I love it. It's such a strong part of the record. So we co-wrote that together, and like for me, that's I mean that it's I'm just honored to be able to share songwriting with those people.
Yeah.
Mackenzie too. She co-wrote some tracks with us as well. So it's really
Very
across the board.
collaborative.
It's a very collaborative record, and I also opened up the floodgates in terms of arranging. So on volume two, I did all the arranging, but on volume three, I did a lot of arranging, but I also opened it up. So I said my favorite band is Tower Power.
Hmm.
So I was like, who arranges for Tower Power? So I found out it's this guy Dave Askridge. So I emailed him
Oh.
out of the blue. I'm like, listen, you don't know me. I know you because you're amazing and I love your arrangements. Would you arrange some stuff for us? And he said, absolutely, let's do this. So then he arranged we co-arranged the tune together, and he arranged the tune. So we co arranged Love in the Fast Lane, and
Oh,
then
wow.
he arranged What Are We Waiting For, which is one of my favorite tunes on the record. I love that tune.
I gotta
And
say, I think that's close to mine too. Yeah.
yeah, it's such a great tune, and
Definitely
the
a great
sax
song.
solo on that is epic, and it's not me, it's Sam Greenfield
Oh,
from New
wow.
York City, and he's amazing. So who else did I get? I love Corey Wong. You know, it's one of my favorite musicians alive, and I currently playing right now alive. That's a weird thing to say. My current sounding musicians. Corey Wong's one of my favorite, and I was like, who arranges his stuff? And it's Michael B. Nelson. And so I reached out to Michael B. Nelson. I said, listen, we got this project. I'd love for you to arrange. And he's such a nice guy. I actually got a chance to meet him really quickly when he played. Corey Wong played Ottawa, and we talked about the, the 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 tune, and we talked about the band a bit. And just if you look at his roster, I mean, he's played with Michael Jackson, he's
Oh
played
wow.
with Prince, like he's played with everybody, and he's such a nice guy. So
Wow.
he arranged "The Time Is Now," which
Oh
is one of my favorite tunes to play because it's so challenging. I love it. He did such a great job. And then I met during the pandemic. I took some arranging lessons with this guy named Philip Lassiter, who's one of my favorite arrangers out there, and he has his own project in Europe, and it's fantastic. You should check it out. Philip Lassiter is so good.
oh blast.
So we co-arranged "Calm Before the Storm" together, and then he arranged "You Complete Me," and then he also arranged two tracks that didn't make this record. So we're sitting on new music still,
Oh
you know,
wow.
that, that didn't get released on this
Yeah.
record. So we've probably got enough in the can. Like if I had to, I could probably record another record before the spring,
Wow.
which would be an honor. We just got to figure it
Yeah.
out.
I was gonna say it
Yeah,
probably takes a lot of coordination and like
yeah,
logistics to kind of get everyone together to do this kind of
yeah,
ensemble music because it's not like a
absolutely.
four piece like rock like drums, guitar, bass,
Yeah,
whatever.
no,
It's not like that. It's everything.
yeah, it's
Like
crazy.
yeah.
Uh, and it was an honor working with Philip. So
Yeah.
he's worked with Ariana Grande. He's
Oh wow.
worked with Jill Scott. He's worked with Prince. He was Prince's arranger for a while. Same with Michael B. Nelson. So, I mean, all
Wow.
these guys, like just having them collaborate on this record was amazing. And then we had the strings on the record. And what we did with the strings, we introduced the strings on volume two. Actually, no, we had one track with strings on the first record, but volume
Mm.
two, we had most of it is arranged for strings. And then volume three, I really wanted the string section again, but we increased the string numbers. So we had six string players and we
Yeah.
tripled all the parts. So it sounds like an 18-piece string ensemble
Yeah.
playing all the string parts. And all the string
Wow.
parts were written by a great buddy of mine and a genius musician, Mark Ferguson, and he arranged our ballad. So I co-wrote the ballad with Northeastern, but Mark arranged the ballad for strings and horns and the band. So it's really a collaborative effort to this record, and that's why I think it's so strong.
That's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't think that it was so collaborative because there it is a extremely strong record.
yeah,
It's very catchy. It's very like
it is. Yeah,
catchy.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
great.
There's
Um
there's 29 musicians on the record.
um so I kind of want to go through the songs a little bit.
Sure.
So let's start with Feel the Commotion. What's that one kind of about?
Yeah, I mean that's a tune about like we really just wanted to get people on the dance floor with this one. And we had to start the record with this because, I this is an arrangement that I did, and we wrote this like epic introduction, right? So it really kind of um, lays the groundwork for what the listeners in store for the rest of the record. So it's a lot of uh, not a fanfare, but like this kind of overture beginning. The theme of the song is like lyrically, you, a girl meets a guy on a dance floor, and she
Yeah.
wants to dance. I mean, like so it's that kind of vibe, uh, and uh, and it's fun. So I always think it's like inspired by. It's very poppy. It's definitely the most pop
Yeah.
influence on
Yeah.
the record. And to be honest, I think Alex and I wrote it, and we were listening to Jonas Brothers actually.
Jonas
Uh,
Brothers. Wow.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love
Cool.
Jonas Brothers. They're great.
So diverse.
Mhm.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Loving the Fast Lane. What's that one about?
So "Love in the Fast Lane," that's like a throwback tune.
Very
That's
catchy one.
a Motown tune. I love
Yeah,
that tune. And lyrically, we even have like some references to old Motown recordings,
that's cool.
Temptations, Four Tops, and it's really just about a guy and a girl in a car. They're just driving, and
Yeah.
that's the theme of the song. But really, what's happening is he's falling in love,
Hmm.
and he wants to make sure that she's along for the ride. So it's a bit of a metaphor there with the car
Extremely
and
relatable.
yeah, highway and yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Backseat Lover. What's kind of the story behind that one?
Yeah, that's a tune I wrote with my buddy Matt Chaffee, and he's a fantastic musician who just released his own project, and
Yeah.
it is I don't know if it's released yet, but it's coming, and it is called Unknown Legend. I believe that's the title of the record,
Hmm.
and we co-wrote that together. So that was really riff based, because it's a very riff kind of based song.
Hmm.
And we started with the lick, like the riff in the beginning, and we knew we wanted it to be kind of a gritty, dirty song,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what we did for this one. And it's all about again love, right? This
Yeah.
doesn't want to be uh, doesn't want to be a backseat lover, right?
Yeah. So great.
Mm.
Now to my favorite song on the record, probably one of my favorites, if like not my top three. What are we waiting for?
Yeah, that's
Definitely
a tune
an
I wrote with
amazing
Jeff
song.
Rogers and
Yeah.
Mackenzie Tupelo. And it's I love that tune. It's just it's really kind of like a throwback to like Chicago, like it's not a Motown tune, but it's like
Hmm.
there's lots of horns on it. It reminds me of like Tower of Power or Chicago, like a rock song, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And sax solo
100%.
on it is I was so lucky to grab Sam Greenfield. Sam is an amazing saxophonist from New York City, and
Yeah.
toured a lot with Corey Wong and he's amazing. So we were so lucky to have him on the record.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a collaborative piece, this whole thing. It seems so cool now talking to you about the backstory behind everything. I
Now,
mean,
so the time is now.
um,
That's honestly a call to our humanity to really wake up, get off your screens.
yeah,
We're living through these days,
yes, yeah,
and that's dangerous and it's scary,
yeah.
and it's so that is really just not a call for help, but just to remind ourselves to the time is now. You got to get up, live your life. I That's a tune I co-wrote with North, and we wrote it a couple years ago actually,
That's cool.
um, and so it's been kind of sitting for a long time, and I
Hmm.
really wanted to turn it into a ballad, or not a
Hmm.
ballad, but a duet rather. And I
Sure.
really wanted the band to do it, and I'm so glad I did because I think it's probably one of the strongest songs on the record.
Yeah.
People always come like I know when I played it for my mom and my mother-in-law,
Hmm.
they both cried, and I was like, oh
Wow.
no, either that's really good or really bad. But no,
Can't
it
really
was
tell.
all good tears. But yeah, I think that's one of the strongest records, or strongest tunes on
Only
the
that
record.
percent. Um, Nothing but you. I didn't listen to it as much as the other ones, but what's that one kind of about?
So that one is I like that one because it's almost got a travel theme to it.
Yeah.
The premise is, you know, even if we're in Paris or Rome,
Hmm.
I don't see anything but you. Nothing but
Yeah.
you. I
Nice.
can't see nothing but you.
That's
And
amazing.
it's a throwback tune. It's a poppy tune. It
Yeah.
was a fun one to write with
Yeah.
Jeff Rogers. And yeah, it's kind of a little bit of it's a cute tune, little pop tune. Yeah, about travel.
Twisted, which is an
Twisted.
amazing one.
Yeah. So Twisted is a tune I wrote like actually for volume 2. Sorry, my mic is doing crazy
Oh,
things.
you wrote it around two
Um,
originally. Okay.
yeah. And it just kind of sat for years and years and years, and that's a tune I co-wrote with Rebecca. Actually Rebecca, Jeff Rogers, and Alex Masternardi. So Alex wrote a bunch of tunes. He co-wrote Feel the Commotion. co-wrote "The Time Is Now." Co-wrote "Nothing But You" with Jeff. So Alex has a lot of stake in this project as well.
Wow.
And so sorry, which thing we were talking about again? Just my
No, we were
mind kind
talking
of
about Twisted, and
twisted.
but that,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So that's like a dirty, kind of a dirty
great,
tune.
great song.
And yeah, that was arranged by Philip Lasser, and he did such a great job on
Yeah,
the horn arrangement for this one.
nice. Now, New Suit came out before what's the next one?
It did.
Before the record came out. Did you guys re-recorded it for the record?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, yeah,
That's
we
super cool.
re-recorded it. Yeah, well, I
Super
really
cool.
wanted it. Like,
Yeah,
I just think it's such a strong song, and it's probably the song that gets the most radio play,
yeah,
and it's kind of got that Saturday Night Live kind of vibe to it.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
100%.
it's a really fun song to play live, and
Hmm.
Augie Bello is the saxophone solo on it, and he did such a great job. So we decided to re-record it because I wanted to give it new life, and
Hmm.
I wanted it to be on a record.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a great song, and it's the first
yeah,
one. I guess, as I say, it came out before the record, so it's the first one I heard. Didn't
yeah,
think it was going to be on the record, but it's such a
yeah.
good addition to it. To it. Show Some Love, which is a great like social
Hmm.
track, social
Yeah,
kind of conscious vibes.
absolutely. And it's really just about that, you know. Um, it's about
Yeah.
karma, you know. It's about being that nice person. You know, the Rock has this great quote. I love the Rock, and he says, "It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice." So
Yes.
being nice, but not for anything in return. You know, show some
Mhm.
love.
Yeah, that's great.
Just to be a good person, right? And so that's really what that song's about.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I like Mackenzie's
Mackenzie
voice on that track too.
is so good on it. Yeah, it's such a great
She's
track.
so good on. She nails
So
that track. I can't picture anyone else singing that track now. Just
no,
her.
no, absolutely not. That is,
Great.
yeah, that's her tune. Hmm.
Um, again, "Calm Before the Storm" is like
Hmm.
probably like my top song on the record.
Yeah, it's such a great tune, and that this one was written by
Okay.
David Gott, our guitarist, and he's such a an amazing songwriter, um, lyrically, harmonically. You know, I'll write with David, and I love writing with him because we come up with a progression, and then he's like, okay, let's try every permutation to make sure we have the right one.
Mm,
Right? So he's really methodical about his songwriting, and it's a treat writing with him. So he wrote this one, and I co-arranged it with Philip Lassiter, and it's this one's like it's got Rebecca all over it. You know,
oh
this
yeah.
one
Yeah, yeah.
she just shines on this track. I mean, she
Oh
shines on every track, but
yeah.
this track in particular, um, yeah, it's I'm so glad it got put on the record because this one actually wasn't even going to be on the record.
Oh,
But I asked David, you know, could we cover it? And he so graciously said yes. So yeah,
so he didn't
I'm
actually
so
write it
glad.
for the Commotions. He wrote it for
Oh
himself
yeah, he wrote it for another project,
for another
and
project. Oh,
yeah, and so we were like, well, and I was like, man, we're sitting on this tune. Like, let's do something with it. So then, yeah. But I mean, Rebecca just she knocks it. She knocks everything out of the water.
what a
But
story! But that's an amazing song, and you're right. She knocked it out of the park. The whole record, all her songs,
yeah,
she knocked it out of the
yeah,
park. But
100%.
she always does.
Yeah, always does.
That's the
Absolutely. Yeah,
general rule.
always does. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think her. I've never seen her have a bad day, or any of the singers, but
Right.
their bad days are like most people's great days. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
amazing. Um, I'm gonna quickly click over "You Complete Me" because that's a good one too. But I just the last one on the record.
Yeah.
"You
Yeah.
Complete Me."
Yeah, so that one is a co-write between Ron Weiss, myself, and Jeff Rogers, and
Cool.
it's I love that track. It's such a another love song,
Yeah.
and it's excuse me, it's kind of got like a throwback vibe.
Mhm.
And Philip Lasser did the horn arrangement, and it's I love this track. It's so fun to play, and Jeff kills this. It's so good. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
That's awesome. So I kind of want to go through the part of like getting back on the stage post COVID. What does it feel like getting back on the stage, especially that scale post COVID? Because
Yeah,
everything was locked down the last couple of years,
it
right?
was
So
yeah, it was a weird time, you know, like
mhm.
um right when the pandemic hit, you know, the band obviously had to take a break, like
Mhm.
every other band, you know, on the planet.
Yeah,
And it was hard. You know, we were excited to record this record, and this record really should have came out 2 years ago, but for obvious reasons
yeah.
it didn't.
There's a bit of a
Um,
delay because of everything, right?
yeah, yeah, and so you know, I'm so glad that it's finally seen the light of day. Um, but it was tricky. But I mean, the first time we got the band back together post COVID, I'm trying to think what our first gig was. But I think we all looked at each other, and it was like no time has passed.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, I think we did one rehearsal, and we played a show, and I wish I knew which show it was. Try to think about what happened, but I just remember just being on stage, and like no time has passed. You know, it's like the last 2 years. You're like, whatever, let's just forget about that. Let's
The
just
vibe
pick
was
up
the same. That's amazing.
and then let's just have fun and ride this wave. Yeah.
That is so cool. Uh, so what can fans expect from this tour, from the Commotions this year? And like, what people expect? What can people expect from the 19th, from the January 20th show? Those kind
Yeah,
of two questions in one, but
yeah, January 20th show. So we got the Lionels on the gig with us, and they're such a fantastic band. I love that band.
mhm.
So it's gonna be they're gonna start off the evening for us, and it's gonna be amazing. And then we're gonna hit the stage. We'll do about a 90-minute or so set, and we expect people to shake what their mama gave them, and you
Yeah,
know, move on the dance floor. And it's gonna be tons of fun. I really can't wait for that evening. And we're almost sold out. I think we only have
we
about
almost sold
30.
out, eh? So awesome.
So we'll get like 500 people in that room, and it's going to be amazing. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Nice,
For
nice.
this year, you know, I'm really concentrating obviously on this gig next Friday, and then after
Mhm.
that, I kind of have to think about what's happening. I've applied to countless festivals across Ontario for a summer gig, so we'll try to just try to see what we can line up, you know, and then we'll just gonna start tackling Volume 4. Really, we got a bunch of tunes that we haven't released yet that we're working on, so
Mhm.
they're in our set for Friday, and
Yeah.
yeah, we're just excited about what the possibilities, you know, what's gonna happen in the future for us.
Do you think there's gonna be a new album this year then? Like a bit sooner than the last one?
Definitely way sooner than the last one.
Yeah.
But I think we're gonna be able to ride this one for, you know, I'm hoping that maybe before next festival season that we'll have a
Mhm.
record out. Yeah, so not this summer,
Nice.
but after that. Yeah.
Cool. All right, last question.
Yeah.
Um, what is the most fun about being in the band? I don't think it's gonna record all this one. I have less than a minute, it says, but
Okay. Yeah.
what is
Yeah.
yeah.
What
What's
the most fun is the
yeah,
collaboration. You know, just being
nice.
on stage with that much talent, and everybody's there, everybody's in the zone, and everybody loves being there, and that's the most fun I can have with this band. Is
You guys are all friends in the background anyway, so
just
so
being a part of it is amazing. Yeah.
that's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for everything, Brian.
Thanks
This
for having
has
me,
been
Evan.
such a great time to talk to. It's been a good it's been a good session, and I wish you all the best on the 20th.